Hello everyone, welcome back to the Rationalistic Paranormal Research channel. I'm Brandon. In today's video we'll be discussing digital voice recorders, and I'll give you a tip and a suggestion on one that I think you should use for your paranormal investigations, and it's probably one that you haven't heard of before, but by the end of this video you're definitely going to go out and buy it. Before we get started, I'd like to apologize for the lack of videos in the last little while. I made the one where it was pretty much assembling what I think is the best bang for your buck full spectrum camera kit for ghost hunting, and since then I uploaded a couple evidence videos, but I really haven't been able to do much since then. Just going through the holidays, work life has been very difficult on me, and I've been trying to get some new equipment as well to make the videos better. I'm experimenting today with a new webcam, and I got a green screen. I'm trying some different like studio type lighting, and eventually I'll have more lighting as well. I can actually have like shining on my face, but right now I have really old glasses. I need to get new ones, so I don't have anti-reflective lenses or anything like that. But hopefully, in the coming months, I will be able to address that and have higher quality videos. But with that out of the way, again, today we are discussing digital voice recorders, and I'm going to give you one that I think you should be using, and I'm going to compare it with what is probably one of the gold standards in the paranormal research field that a lot of investigators use, and you've probably seen it on many TV shows, and I'm going to discuss why I think my choice is a better one. And I'm going to go through all the comparisons between the two, show a couple very good features that I think really throw it over the edge and make it the best choice for digital voice recorders in the paranormal field. So now I'm going to start with the recorder itself. This one is the Philips VoiceTracer. It's been around for many years. They've had many different generations, but this is the newest one. This specific generation has been around for 2 or 3 years, I would say, maybe longer. I'm not entirely sure. But this one is labeled as the DVT6110. That's what it's called in the marketplace. It just comes with the recorder itself. But there is a newer version of this. It's the same recorder, but it is called the 6115, and it comes bundled with talk-to-text software. And there's also been the 7110, which comes with DSLR adapting video cable, more or less. We could attach it to the cable and use it as an external microphone for the camera itself, and also comes with a hot shoe adapter and a windscreen for the recorder. And there's also the 8110, which comes with a 360-degree meeting microphone. That's an external that you plug into the 3.5 millimeter jack. And there's also the 8115, which comes with that microphone. It also comes with the talk-to-text software as well. So there are many different versions of this recorder you can find on the marketplace, different bundles, I should say. But in every one of those packages, it will come with the base recorder itself, which again, very, very high quality, very, very good. What I'm going to do now is compare the two products, go through some differences and features and pricing and that sort of thing. And I have a table I put together with all the research I could find. I will show it on the screen right now, keep it up there permanently so you guys can follow along with me. First, when it comes to the price, even though those two Zoom models aren't in production anymore, they were anywhere from like 250 to 400, I'd say. Maybe 400 is probably what they go for now, if you can find some new ones. But MSRP, they usually right around the 250 range, and that's just the device by itself. And the Philips, anywhere from it was 120 up until maybe like 220, depending on the accessories that it came with. I kind of ran through earlier what the different accessories were that they could come bundled with, but the device by itself, right around that 120, 140 range. So the Philips is a tad bit cheaper. So I definitely would recommend that if you're just looking for pricing. So I think the Philips is a win there. Next, we can talk about the microphones. The Philips itself has 3 microphones. It has 2 omnidirectional microphones and 1 directional microphone. The 2 omnidirectionals are going to be used when the device is set to stereo recording mode. That's going to be the most common method, I would say. You can capture sounds coming from almost any direction when you're holding it, whether you have it set down on a table, whatever. It's going to provide around 120 to 140 degrees of coverage, which is very, very good for an out-of-the-box recorder. Very, very, very nice. That's definitely the way to go, I would say, if you want to use it just for your standard EVP session or something like that. I'd keep it in stereo mode. To use the center directional microphone, you're going to have to go to the Zoom recording mode, and that is going to just be focusing on one specific direction. So say you're at a location has like a very long, narrow hallway, for example. You can set the recorder down in that Zoom mode. It's just going to focus all of its resources to aim down that one direction. It can increase the actual like length of recording you can get, but of course the degree of coverage is going to be a lot greater. It's going to be a lot smaller, focused on that one direction. But it does have 3 microphones. The Zoom does have 2 microphones. They're in the XY pattern, which is very common for audio recorders these days, and they can be adjusted to cover either 90 or 120 degrees of coverage. So the Philips wins there. It can do up to approximately 140 degrees. And a lot of people, like, I've seen it marketed for the Zoom as a 360-degree recorder. I know like GoStop.com labeled as Zoom 360-degree recorder on their listing for it on their website when they sold it. It does not do 360 degrees out of the box. Both of them, however, can, like various external microphone applications, you can get to 360 degrees. I mentioned earlier the Zoom can come with the meeting microphone that you plug in, the 3.5 millimeter jack. You set down in the middle of the table for like a conference or something like that. It can cover 360 degrees. You could probably plug that same microphone into the Zoom as well and it would work, or maybe use some of their XLR jacks to plug in microphones that way. I'm not entirely sure, but I know you can get 360 degrees with external microphones for both, but not out of the box. But out of the box, as far as what they're allowed, what the maximum coverage they can provide, the Philips does win that as well. So I think that's 2-0 for the Philips compared to the almighty Zoom H4n that a lot of people have used. When it comes to the actual audio quality that both of them can record at, they can both do up to 24-bit depth, 96 kilohertz. Recording quality is very, very good, and for the Philips to achieve that, it has to be in PCM format, and the Zoom does that in WAV format, very, very similar. So when it comes to audio quality, they're both going to tie there. And when it comes to the actual quality of the microphones themselves, it's all going to be kind of subjective. So we can kind of just chalk that up as a tie. Next, I want to talk about battery. The Philips has a rechargeable internal battery, which is charged by a USB-C cable, and the Zoom uses two external AA batteries. It's something Zoom's kind of stuck with for years. I don't know if they'll ever actually go to using just an internal rechargeable battery for their mainline recorders. We'll see. I personally think having the external one's better. This one, it says the Philips in their manual, it says they can record up to 36 straight hours. Of course, that's going to be like 8 kilobit per second MP3 files, which is not going to be something you're ever going to be using unless you want just really, really poor audio quality. And the Zoom, I found online, it can go anywhere from 6 to 10 hours depending on format. But honestly, if you have the maximum like battery capacity, or if you have the maximum file format and the battery is charged all the way and you want the highest quality audio, you can use this for an entire like 8-hour investigation, and it's probably going to last. If you have it running for 8 straight hours, it might not last. So in that sense, like having the option to swap out batteries like halfway through an investigation might be good. But if you're not going to do an 8-hour recording session, if you're just going to go around and do intermittent EVP sessions, this is definitely going to last the amount of your investigation for sure, if it's 8 hours or whatever it is, even if you're using the highest audio format. So I think having the internal battery is a little bit better personally. Can be a little bit subjective, but I'm going to go ahead and give that win to Philips as well for the battery. Another thing we can talk about is storage. So the Philips device actually has 8 gigabytes of onboard flash storage, and the Zoom does not have any at all on board. You have to rely on external sources, and the Zoom particularly uses full-size SD cards up to 32 gigs, and the Philips uses micro SD cards up to 32 gigs. So I would tend to give that to Philips as well. So I think micro is a little bit more modern, a little bit more versatile, and so I would tend to give the edge to the Philips there. And the fact that it says up to 32 gigs, I know for a fact you can use at least 64 gigs on the Philips. I've done it before. It goes with a lot of cameras before, like the Ghost Stop camera I reviewed on this channel a while ago. It says it can only use up to 32 or 64 gig, and I can use like a 128 gig card, no problem. So your mileage may vary there, but just safety sake, let's say they both use 32 gigs. I would still give the edge to the Philips for having micro instead of full size, and the fact that it has 8 gigs of onboard storage as opposed to 0 for the Zoom products. When it comes to connectivity, I mentioned earlier that this is recharged by a USB-C cable, very nice. The Zoom, I believe, has a micro SD interface for like file transfer and that sort of thing. And this also has Wi-Fi as well. I'll get more in detail what that does later on. And the Zoom, of course, does not have Wi-Fi. So connectivity, I would give the edge to the Philips as well. When it comes to external mic support, I mentioned that the Philips can use the 3.5 millimeter jack for external microphones. The Zoom, however, is going to be able to beat this because it has the two XLR jacks it can use as well. You can fit more microphones to it and have more external items plugged into it. But the thing about this, for paranormal investigation, you're not going to use the external jacks for like anything hardly for the Zoom recorder. That's going to be more for if you're recording like instruments, if you want to plug a guitar into it or something like that. That's where those XLR jacks really come in handy. But in just general practicality, not going to be something you're going to use for paranormal investigation ever, hardly, unless you just want to plug in an external microphone. But as far as external mic support, I do think the Zoom does have better support just because it has the two additional jacks, or two XLR jacks compared to just one 3.5 for the Philips. So I will give the Zoom the go ahead there on the external mic support. Another thing that the Zoom does do better is going to be gain control. You can actually go in and manually control the gain if you want to, if you're in like a very noisy situation with a lot of yelling or something like that in the paranormal field. But primarily it'd be used again for like recording live music where you don't want that audio to clip. And unfortunately, the Philips just has automatic gain control. However, I will say that you're probably never going to run into a situation where your audio clips unless you're just yelling like into the microphone as loud as you possibly can, which is probably not going to happen. So you probably don't have to worry about clipping, but I will say the Zoom does do better in terms of gain control. So go ahead and give the Zoom the go ahead on that as well. The last two things I'm going to talk about comparison wise, I think, are the two biggest selling factors for the Philips that I think really make it the best for paranormal investigation. And the first one is going to be smartphone apps. The Philips does have its own app for smartphones, tablets, whatever. It is called the Philips VoiceTracer app, and the Zoom, of course, is not anything like that. And how this works is on the Philips recorder, you can turn Wi-Fi on the device itself, and then turn on mobile hotspot on your smartphone, tablet, whatever, and you can connect the two together. And what you can do from there is you can actually control the recording remotely. So you can set this down in a room, for example. I'll show this on the screen, by the way, too, how it works. Say you want to set if you want to do an EVP session where nobody's in the room, you can take the recorder, set it into an empty room, wherever you want to conduct the EVP session, not, encroach, have too many people in one area, have it where it's completely empty, and you can have like another device playing pre-recorded EVP questions out loud, like an external speaker playing EVP questions, or a walkie-talkie even playing EVP questions. You can set this recorder down and like start the recording from your command station, wherever you want to set up shop, or like a room next door or whatever, and you can end it appropriately whenever you want to. Very good for that. That's awesome. Very cool thing you can use if you want to try experiment with your EVP sessions. You can also take that a step further if you're somebody that uses a spirit box. I personally don't. If I do use it, it has to be in a very controlled situation, which I will hopefully get to in a video at some point. But say you want to take that a step further, if you want to have like an external device asking questions out loud, or asking questions through a walkie-talkie and having the spirit box next to it, you can ask questions to see if you can get responses, through the spirit box, or EVPs even for that matter. You can have this set along with it together all in an empty room. You can record and stop the recording remotely from your command station again. So very cool thing you can do with the Philips recorder there. Very nice, and of course the Zoom cannot do anything like that. So that's one huge upsell feature for the Philips, I think, that makes it the best recorder you can buy for paranormal investigation. That's the main one, other than what we've covered so far. And I think the biggest sell feature for this specifically is, say you don't have a computer with you or something like that, and you want to listen to some of your audio on like the drive back from the investigation to your house or hotel or whatever. If you take a long road trip, you want to view some evidence. This thing has a special playback mode in it called ClearVoice playback mode, and what that does is any kind of like whispery conversation, any kind of like low-level noise, it will actually boost the volume on that when you're listening to it in playback, kind of isolate those lower frequencies, so it's going to really bring out some of those low whispery EVPs, which is very nice. Because again, most EVPs are going to be kind of in the whispering, have a whispering nature to them, so you can boost them and listen to them while you're trying to review your audio. Again, it's not going to affect the file. It's not like putting like a hiss reduction filter or boosting the doing like a dB boost or something like that. It's not going to affect the file itself, but it is going to allow you to kind of analyze your audio without having to plug it into a computer and run your files through some kind of audio software. So very good that you can kind of just on the fly listen to it and really try to pick out those whispers without having to plug into a computer or anything like that. If it detects something that's going to be kind of whispery, it's going to naturally raise the volume on it while you're listening to it, and it's going to isolate those lower frequencies. So that is a huge huge thing for analyzing audio. And then of course, if you like spot something, you can like bookmark it on here, and you can actually, if you do have a computer, you can plug it in and try to do even more to kind of bring that out. But even if you don't have the computer or any kind of audio program, the fact that you can use that ClearVoice to kind of pinpoint EVPs and make them easier, more legible for other people to hear as well. So very, very good. And the Zoom, of course, could not do that. You'd have to just listen to it on here, and hopefully you catch something. If not, you'll have to plug it into like an audio program and do dB boost and all that stuff manually to try to pick out your EVP. So I think those are the two biggest sell factors for the Philips. Is I think are going to be the ClearVoice playback function to really help when you're trying to review your audio, and for the app support to do the remote access, like to start and stop recordings from your command station when it's in an empty room. So I think those are the two biggest sell factors. But going down the whole checklist here, I do think the Zoom does win some things, but overall I think the Philips is a better recorder. It won more of the categories, and it's cheaper. So I definitely recommend going and picking out one of these Philips voice tracers if you can find them. I know the newer ones that come with the talk to text software, you can find them on Amazon or Best Buy, whatever, online. You can definitely find them and get them. So they're a lot cheaper. I definitely recommend using them. I do think they are better than the Zoom H4 line of recorders. So hopefully you guys got some valuable information out of this and can actually go and use these recorders for yourself. And if you do end up buying one and using one for your paranormal investigations, let me know down in the comments how it worked out for you. I do not think you'll be disappointed at all. Hopefully more people can start using these, because I honestly think they are a game-changing recorder for the paranormal field. So that's all I have today. Not entirely sure what video is going to be next. I do want to do some, I mentioned before, I want to do some like debunking clips where I go through some famous or even infamous ghost hunting clips, and I can kind of debunk them for you and show you why I think they're not real. So you shouldn't believe everything you see on TV. So I want to do that in the future, and I want to show you how I kind of alluded to this earlier as well. Why I don't think you should be using Spirit Box on your investigations unless they are in a very controlled situation where you can rule out interference and that sort of thing. And I can show you how to do that as well. So hopefully that'll be another video for the future. So if you want, leave what other comments you have down in the comments below. If you have any questions, video suggestions, let me know. Leave a like in the video, subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in the next video.